Hello everybody, my name is Sarah and welcome back to Future Zoologist Academy. Today, for our lesson, we will be discussing an incredible group of birds. And these birds are very powerful predators who you might see flying around at nighttime. Today, we're learning all about owls and their incredible adaptations. Let's get into it. Owls are an order of birds with about 200 different species. We do consider owls to be birds of prey, along with birds like eagles and hawks and falcons, but scientists think they may actually be more closely related to birds like nightjars or possibly even mouse birds. Owls are a very widespread group of birds. In fact, they live on every single continent except for Antarctica, and can be found in a wide variety of habitats, everywhere from deserts to grasslands to forests, and even in places like the Arctic tundra. Now, though they're not especially closely related to the other birds of prey, they do have many traits in common with them, including the reason they are called birds of prey. All the birds of prey are especially powerful predators. They're carnivores. So like all the other birds of prey, owls are primarily eating meat. Though exactly what they eat does depend on things like where do they live and how big are they. The smallest species of owl is the adorable elf owl, who stands a whopping 5 inches tall. And this very small owl eats very small food, like insects. Whereas some of our larger owls, like the Eurasian eagle owl, which stands about 2.5 feet tall, is going to be eating larger prey, things like rabbits and large rodents and even other birds. But it's not just about their size, it's also about their habitat. Some owls like to hang out in forests. The Verreaux's eagle owl might be eating things like monkeys in a forest, whereas the snowy owl, who lives way up in the Arctic tundra by the North Pole, is primarily going to be eating small burrowing rodents like lemmings. Owls are able to easily ambush or sneak attack their prey because they have amazing camouflage and silent flight. Most owls have feathers that have the colors and the patterns of different things in their environment. An owl who lives in a forest might have feathers that match the color and patterns of the tree bark, whereas that snowy owl, who lives where it's snowy, has white feathers to match the snow in their environment. Owls also have specialized flight feathers on their wings, which are kind of frayed along the edges and help to muffle the sound their wings make when they're flying. So as they're approaching their prey, they're flying silently, and the prey is not able to hear them coming, which makes it very easy for the owls to then use their big, strong talons to grab onto their prey. Hunting with talons is something that makes birds of prey different from other carnivorous birds like pelicans or herons, which catch their prey with their mouth and not with their feet. Now, once they've caught their prey, using those big strong talons, now's where that beak comes in handy. Owls, like most birds of prey, have a sharp, hooked beak. When owls catch food that is small enough for them to swallow whole, they do, but if they catch something that's a little bit too big, they use their beak, like a fork and knife, to tear off pieces of food that are small enough for them to swallow. And they do often swallow all different parts of their prey, and the parts they can't digest, like bone or fur, they eventually regurgitate or cough up as a pellet. And scientists can use pellets to really understand what owls are eating. Owls avoid competition with other birds of prey like hawks and eagles by hunting at nighttime. Owls are nocturnal, whereas most other birds of prey are diurnal, meaning they're active during the daytime. And hunting at nighttime, in the dark, can be quite challenging, so owls have many adaptations to help them hunt at nighttime. One of these adaptations is an incredible sense of hearing. Most owls have 2 ears, of course, except instead of being like our ears, where they're on the same spot on either side of our head, the ears of an owl are a little bit offset. And this means sound is reaching each ear at a slightly different time and helps owls to pinpoint the exact location of the sound, typically, that their prey is making. Many owls also have special face feathers that are kind of shaped like a circle. I like to think about them like a satellite dish, and they help funnel sound directly to their ears, which helps them to hear even better. Another adaptation that helps owls to hunt at nighttime, and again, something that makes them different from other birds of prey, are these very large forward-facing eyes, which have great night vision and great depth perception to help them find their prey in the dark. However, these eyes are fixed in place. They do not have the ability to move their eyes around the way we do. So when owls need to look around, they have to actually turn their heads rather than moving their eyes. And sometimes it looks like an owl can turn its head all the way around, but it can't. However, they can turn their head about 270 degrees, or about 3/4 of the way around. That would be like me turning my head this way, and by the time I was done, looking that way. And owls are only able to do this because they have a ton of vertebrae in their neck. They have 14 bones or vertebrae in their neck, whereas humans, we only have 7. So we're not able to turn our head nearly as far as an owl can. All of these adaptations allow owls to hunt in the darkness of night, which they usually do alone. Most owls are solitary, meaning they spend most of the year all by themselves. There are a few exceptions to this, like the burrowing owl, who typically does live in a group with other burrowing owls, and we call a group of owls a parliament. But like we said before, most owls are solitary, meaning they live alone. Most owls are also monogamous, meaning they have one mate for the breeding season, and a couple special species of owls may actually mate year after year, or even for their whole lifetime. Now, though we did say most owls are solitary, they live alone, they will come together during the breeding season and spend time together after breeding to raise their offspring as a mated pair. And owls make their nests in a wide variety of different places, depending on where they live. Many owls nest in tree branches or in tree cavities. Some species nest underground, and a few in the desert even nest in cacti. Another similarity between owls and other birds of prey is that females are typically larger than the males are, and scientists hypothesize that this is especially helpful during the breeding season. The female is the one who usually sits with the eggs, incubating them and keeping them warm, and the male is responsible for going out to get food. So scientists think that being larger allows the females to warm a larger area of nest and to store fat just in case there might not be that much food to go around. And the males are a bit smaller because this makes them more agile and it makes catching food a little bit easier. Most species of owls lay just a few eggs at a time, but some species, like the snowy owl, can lay more than 10 eggs at a time. Snowy owls again live in the Arctic tundra and they make their nest on the ground, which means it's very easy for predators to find and get them. So they lay many eggs, assuming that maybe just a few of them will actually survive to adulthood. Once the eggs hatch, typically both male and female help to care for and feed the chick until it's time for them to fledge. How long fledging takes does depend quite a bit on the species, but for most owl species, it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months before the chicks are able to fly and leaving the nest all on their own. Seeing an owl in the wild is one of the most unique and exciting experiences because of how hard they can be to find and how they're typically active at nighttime, but unfortunately, these owl sightings are becoming more rare. Many species of owls are threatened with extinction. And the threats that they face are a little bit specific to what species of owl we're talking about and what kind of habitat they live in. Though one of the main threats that many owl species are facing is habitat loss. And habitat loss can be a big problem because it takes away available nesting sites and it makes it harder for them to find food. So my challenge to you here for our owl lesson today is to do a little bit of research to learn about what kind of owls live in your native habitat. Try to figure out what threats they're facing and see if there's anything that you can do to help protect them. All right, you guys, that is all I had for us today for our owl lesson. If you would like to learn more about the threats that some owls face, or to do quizzes, activities, projects, and get even more fun facts about owls, please be sure to click that link below to visit our website, and I can't wait to see you at our next lesson. Thank you very much.